Hello, everybody. This is Ken, the Watcher. Welcome to the Watcher Chronicles. It's Wednesday, April 10th, 2019, and short video here about the Mueller Report. Most of you never knew me till recently, but my longtime Facebook friends know that from the day Robert Mueller was appointed, I said that he's a dirty cop who's brought in to cover up all the deep state crimes, and that this whole witch hunt thing is just a decoy. It's a disguise, just to deflect attention from the truth. That the whole Mueller investigation uh, was a crime spree evidence search and destroy mission disguised as a Trump witch hunt. I said from the beginning, Trump will never be indicted. He'll never be removed from office. It's all smoke and mirrors. And the Republicans are in on it, including Sean Hannity, who I know everybody loves. But Sean Hannity marches to the beat of the Republican establishment drums. Not the establishment, but the evangelical drums. And I'm going to tell you something, they're all in on it. They're all in on the cover-up. The Republicans know, because they themselves are just as a part of the swamp as the Democrats. There's no Democrats against Republicans. It's the deep state against the people. And I said as much as a year ago that the Republicans are in on it, and then they're going to wait until the Mueller report comes out, till he's finished, and then they're going to start demanding investigations on all these other deep state crimes that are being uncovered and leaked while this investigation is going on. And they're going to demand it, and they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to indict anybody because everything's going to be buried in the Mueller report. All the evidence, everything that he accused a Trump associate of. There was a deep state crime, and they found some remote way to tie somebody in a Trump camp to it. And then they called the real perpetrators, the criminals, as witnesses and gave them all immunity. Or they hired them as investigators. I mean, didn't you notice that all of Mueller's investigators were people who were involved in the Clinton Foundation as investors or consultants or things like that? That's not a coincidence. They know where to look because they committed the crimes. It's the deep state investigating itself. They knew where to look. They knew who to accuse, so they can go in. You just can't destroy government documents. I know it seems like Democrats do it all the time, but it's not that easy. In order to do it legally, to legally bury these crimes, you have to accuse somebody of the crime so you can gain the clearance to get the documentation from the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, so you can gather it together and bury it in your report, in your investigation. You can't just go in and start, destroying files, and you can't get access to the files unless you have a legal authority, a legal clearance. And so what Mueller would do is he would accuse somebody in the Trump camp of something that somebody in the deep state did, so he can get access to the files, call the real criminals in as witnesses, give them immunity, or hire them as attorneys or investigators. And that's what he did. That's what this whole thing was about. Now that it's done, you have all this evidence buried in this report. Now, I don't know if any of it can be used. As long as there's nothing that says that the investigation is over. As long as there's ongoing investigations, none of that evidence can be used in any other investigations. That's how this works. That's how the deep state does things. And the Democrats, they're yelling, hey, they want the whole report disclosed, unredacted to the Congress. They have a right. Well, they want to do that for a couple reasons. It doesn't have to do with trying to dig up evidence to accuse Trump and his family. Again, that's the decoy. That's the decoy. And that's what Republicans are running with that narrative, because they know it's a decoy. They want to have the information released because there's investigations going on, and that will taint it and cause that evidence to be thrown out of court. They also want to see how many of them have dirt on them in that investigation. But the thing is, if you release it all and there's crimes, you have what's called in criminal justice, you have what's called a chain of custody. Evidence has to be handled a certain way. If it's not handled a certain way, it's not permissible in a court of law, and a judge can throw it out. So if you get all this Mueller report in its entirety released, all the evidence of all the crimes therein, and it's all there, all the evidence of all the crimes, because that's what the whole purpose was, to gather it all to bury it, then you get it all thrown out, and none of it can be investigated. None of it can be used in a court of law if it's released that way, because it's tainted. It will have broken the chain of custody that is required by law to be kept in order for any of the evidence to be used in any other. In current investigations and in current court cases, or any pending ones or future ones, they'll all have to be thrown out. And that's why Democrats are pushing to have it all released. And of course, Republicans are pretending like, oh yeah, that's because they want to dig up stuff to hurt Trump. And Republicans know they're helping bury it. I'm going to tell you something about William Barr. He's a tough guy, and he's going to look tough too. I mean, he's going to look tough. He's a George Herbert Walker Bush crony. And let me tell you something about George Herbert Walker Bush. He truly, wholeheartedly believed that the office of the presidency and the institution of the federal government is bigger and more important than any individual or group of individuals, and must be protected at all costs. The institution has to be protected at all costs. Even the cost of the truth getting out, even the cost of sending corrupt officials to jail. And that's William Barr. He came in, and he's going to be tough. He's not going to let Democrats run this bullcrap against the Republicans. He's also not going to let the Republicans run this bullcrap against the Democrats. Nobody's going to jail. Oh, there's always a couple low-level people they'll throw under the bus, like they always do. But you're not going to see Hillary go to jail, or Comey, or Strzok, or Mueller, or all the people who deserve to go to jail. You're not going to see them. You're not going to see it. It's all going to be buried. So they create a catch-22 by gathering all of that, all the evidence of all the deep state crimes, and putting in that report, creates a catch-22. So, wherein you can't disclose it because it renders it impermissible in the court of law. And if you don't disclose it, it's buried. If you don't disclose it, you can't prove that anybody's committed any crime. So it's a catch-22, and lawyers are good at creating catch-22s like that. They're experts, and those are all lawyers in these positions. They're all lawyers. All the top management in the government, it's all lawyers. So there you have it. That's the truth about the Mueller report. And sorry you guys got duped by this Q psyop that dangled that carrot of all these tens of thousands of indictments and all these high-level government officials going to jail, and the to tribunals at Guantanamo Bay. I told you guys last summer it was a psyop. And they're using you Q followers to find out where leaks are happening in the government so they can find the people who's leaking and make them disappear. So you're helping them close the loopholes by following this Q bullcrap. So there you have it. Have a good night.